Hi, this is Teacher Julie. Today we will do 2018 SA2 Paper 2 of Temasek Primary School. Let's jump into the question right now. Lindy had 15 meters of cloth. She cut 2 cm from it to give to Bob. She gave Lucas 30 cm of the cloth. She used all the remaining cloth to sew 7 similar dresses. If Lindy used equal length of cloth for each dress, what is the length of cloth used for each dress? Give your answers in terms of y. So, first, Lindy had 15 meters. And you must know that you have to change meters into cm because the other information are in cm. So 15 cm is equals to 15 times 100, which is equals to 1500 cm. So 1500 cm, she gave Lucas 30 cm. So we have to use 1500 minus 30, and she also gave to Bob 2y cm. So you have to minus 2y. And finally, this will be the remaining cloth that she has, and she wants to sew 7 similar dresses. Because the question asks you to find each dress, so you have to find the answers here and divided it by 7. So this will be equal to 1470 minus 2y divided by 7. And this is your answer. When you write down your answer, because this is in cm, you have to put a bracket here, 1470 minus 2y, close bracket, and divide it by 7. Let's recap what is the concept tested here. Because there is one y here, in terms of y, we know that the concept tested is actually algebra in one variable, and the other concept tested is to change meter into cm. So this is unit conversion for length. Question 2. They made the cubot shown below using cubes of side 4 cm. What is the volume of the cubot? First, we have to understand what is the volume of a cube. And we know that a cube has all equal sides. So, volume of a cube is actually equals to length times length times length, which will be equals to 4 times 4 times 4, and it is actually 64 cm cube. Next, we have to look at how many cubes are there in this cubot, and we can see that there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So, volume of the cubot is actually the total of these 8 cubes, equals to 8 times 64, and the answer is 512 cm cube. So notice that whenever we want volume, we have to express in terms of cube. Let's recap what we learned here. We learned the importance of the volume of cube and the volume of cubot, and finally we learned about how individual cube can be joined together to make one bigger cubot. Question 3. The bar graph shows the number of tickets sold for a concert to a group of children. How many children purchase more than 2 tickets. So this bar graph shows the number of children. These are all the numbers of children here, and the number of children who bought the number of tickets here. So here, the number of children is actually 20. Here it will be 60 because we follow the line and look at the vertical numbers here. This will be actually half of 40 and 50, and this will be 45. This is actually 15, and this is also 15. So to find the number of children that bought more than 2, we cannot look at this at all. We only can look at this, this, and this. So number of children will be actually 45 plus 15 plus 15 from here. And our answer will be 75 children. Let's recap the concept here. The main concept here is the idea of bar graph and the idea of more than or less than. Let's move to question 4. A group of girls shared some sweets among themselves. When each girl took 11 sweets, the last girl had 16 sweets. When each girl took 8 sweets, there were 32 sweets left over. So this is actually a PSLE question that has come up before. So we have to think about what are the assumptions involved. First, in both scenarios 1 and 2, the numbers of girls has not changed. 2, the total number of sweets in the first scenario and the second scenario has not changed as well. So since the number of girls has not changed, we will call the number of girls 1 unit. And if you notice here, the last girl had 16 sweets instead of 11 sweets. So we can tell that 16 minus 11 is 5. It means that the last girl had 5 extra sweets. So in order to find the number of sweets in the first scenario, it will be 11, which is the number of sweets for each girl, multiplied by 1 unit because it is the number of girls, plus 5. So let's look at the second scenario now, where if each girl received 8 sweets, there were 32 sweets left over. So 8 times 1 unit plus the 32 sweets. So this will become 11 unit plus 5 is equals to 8 unit plus 32. So we have to shift the 8 unit to the left side. So we have to minus 8 unit and minus 8 unit, and we have to shift the 5, positive 5 to the right side. So we have to minus 5, and here we will also minus 5. So right now this will be 3 unit is equal to 27, and therefore 1 unit is actually equals to 27 divided by 3, and it is 9. So the number of girls is actually 9. So to find the number of sweets, so we can use this equation to help us. So it will be 11 multiplied by 1 unit, which is 9, plus 5. And the answer will be 104 sweets. Let's recap what we have learned here. We learned how the question redistribute based on the same number of girls but different number of sweets for each girl. We also learned about units equation because we have created two different unit equation, 1, 2, so that we can equate them to be the same and in order to find one unit here. Question 5. Jamie takes 6 days to paint a house. Her sister takes 10 days to paint the same house. If they work together, what fraction of the house would they be able to paint in 3 days? Give your answers in its simplest form. So, we can tell that this is actually a question on rate or speed, and they have two different speeds. So let's create a table to help us understand better. So for Jamie, she will take 6 days to paint a house. And for her sister, she will take 10 days. So let's think about for every day, 1 day. What is the fraction of the house that Jamie can complete painting? It will be 6 days for painting one house. So 1 day we will be able to paint 1/6 of the house. So this will be 1/6 of the house. And here, 10 days, the sister will be able to paint one house. So in 1 day, the sister will be able to paint 1/10 of the house. So this will be 1/10 of the house. So what happens if they work together? So when they work together, in 1 day, they will be able to paint 1/6 of the house plus 1/10 of the house. And it will become 4 out of 15 of the house. This is a calculator question, so I will not explain how I get 4/15. So, in 1 day, when they combine effort, they can do 4/15 of the house. So, in another word, if we want to know the fraction of the house that they can do in 3 days, it will be 3 multiplied by 4/15 of the house, and it will be 4 out of 5 of the house. So let's recap the concept tested here. The concept tested is different rate and also fraction of a whole. Do remember to reduce your answers to the simplest form. Question 6. George bought a total of 30 notebooks and pencil case. Each notebook costs $9 and each pencil case costs $3 more. The total cost of the pencil case is $87 more than the total cost of the notebook. A. How many notebooks did George buy? B. How much did he spend on all the pencil case? Let's analyze what are given and the assumption. Number 1, we know that there are 30 items, but we do not know how many notebooks and pencil case there are. Number 2, we do not also know which one is more, notebook or pencil case. So, when we do not know how many items of each type, there is a likelihood that we can use guess and check or make supposition. For me, I do not like to use guess and check. I like supposition more because it's fast and accurate. So let me show you how to do supposition. Number one, we have to put notebook, number of notebooks, okay, the cost involved, the number of pencil case, the cost involved, and here we are not looking at the total because of this word that says more. So basically we are trying to compare the difference between the total cost of the notebook and the pencil case. Since the total cost of the notebook is more, we can assume that there will be more pencil case than notebook usually. So let's think about how much is each pencil case first. And for each pencil case, since it is $3 more than the notebook, it will be 9 plus 3, which is equals to 12. So all pencil case are $12 and all notebooks are $9 each. If there are 30 pencil case, it means that there is 0 notebook. So it means that I spent nothing on the notebook and therefore I paid nothing as well here. So for this 30 pencil case, if I paid $12 for each one, 30 multiplied by 12, we will get $360 here. And if we compare how much is the pencil case more than the notebook, it will be 360 minus 0, which is equals to 360. So let's move on to the next row, where right now there will be 29 pencil case and 1 notebook. To buy 1 notebook, it will cost $9. And to buy 29 pencil case, we just have to use 360 minus 12, because now you're buying less pencil case, and this will be 348. So if we want to find the difference between the two, it will be 348 minus 9, and we will get 339. So we can see that there is a drop in the difference. For every addition of notebook, there is a drop. And how much is the drop? Let's calculate. 360 minus 339 is equals to 21. So there is a drop of $21. But we know that in the end, the difference is actually $87. So when we continue and increase the notebook by 1 every single time, and there will be one time that the difference is actually $87 here. So in order to reach $87, we have to find out what is the drop in the total difference between the notebook and the pencil case, and it will be 360 minus 87, which is equal to 273. So what this means is there is a drop of 273. So if every time we add 1 notebook, there will be a drop of $21. So how many times do we need to add the notebook in order to have a drop of 273? So right now, we just have to use 273 divided by 21, which is equal to 13. So what this means is there is a drop, okay, and the notebook will keep on increasing, okay, until it reach number 13. So it means that when Josh bought 13 notebook, and therefore 30 minus 13 is 17, and 17 pencil case, the difference in the total cost will be $87. So what is the number of notebooks that Josh bought? It will be 13. And how much did he spend on all the pencil case? So since Josh bought 17 pencil case, so 17 multiplied by each pencil case is $12. 12. And our answer will be $204. Let's recap what we have learned. So from this question here, we know that we can make supposition by making George bought 0 notebook and 30 pencil cases. And we also know that by dropping, when you add the number of notebook, it will be a consistent drop of 21. So we just have to find out for $273, how many times must you drop by 21 in order to have a difference of a total cost of $87. Question 7. Ken traveled from his house to the park. He ran 1/3 of the journey in 3 minutes and jogged 3/5 of the remaining journey. He walked the rest of the journey in 2.5 minutes at an average speed of 80 meters per minute. What was Ken's running speed? To do this question, let me just draw a simple model for you. So for 1/3 of the journey, he took 3 minutes. And for 3/5 of his remaining journey, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. For 3/5 of the remaining journey, he jogged. So this is his jogging distance. And finally, he walked 2.5 minutes at an average speed of 80 meters per minute. So in order to find his running speed, which is at here, we really need to know the distance that is represented here. So in order to do that, let's call this part. So 2 part will be equal to 80 multiplied by 2.5, because every minute Ken would walk 80 meters, and this will be equal to 200. So we can see now that 1p is actually equals to 200 divided by 2, and it will be 100. So all these blue boxes are 100. So in other words, if we call this unit, so it will be 2 unit is actually equivalent to 5 part. So 5 part is actually equal to 5 times 100, which is equal to 500. So 2 unit is actually 500. And therefore 1 unit is actually equals to 500 divided by 2, which is equals to 250 meters. So this is 250 meters. So if we use the distance speed triangle, distance, speed, time, to find speed, we need to have the distance, which is 250, and divide it by the time, which is 3 minutes. So, can running speed is actually equals to 250 divided by 3, and so it will become, from improper fraction we will change it to mixed number, which is 83 1/3 meter per minute. So let's recap what we have learned here. We learned about a fraction of a journey, which is called journey by part. We also use the distance, speed, time triangle so that we can find what is missing in the triangle. We also can see fraction to units, which is at here, which we actually equate it to 3 units. And we also use remainder concept, which we call per blue box 1 part. And finally, we use the concept of unit and parts, where we work backwards and solve the part first before we can find the units. Question 8. The line graph below shows the height of a mango tree measured in January of each year from 2011 to 2016. So, this is the line graph. A. In which year was the height of the mango tree twice its height in 2011? B. What was the average height of the mango tree from 2012 to 2015? So, the first thing we need to see is that from here to here, we have to look at the number of cuttings. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4. So it means that this is 0 and this is 20. So if there are 4 markings here, so it means that each one represents 5, because 20 divided by 4 is actually 5. So in year 2011, the height is actually 35 meters. 2012, it is actually 50 meters. 2013 is actually 70 meters. 2014 is 95 meters. 2015 is 130 meters. And 2016 is 135 meters. So, in which year was the height of the mango tree twice? So, to make sure that it is twice of 2011, this is actually 35. So, 35 to be twice is multiplied by 2, which is equals to 70. So, you can see now that in 2013, the height was 70 meters, which is actually twice of 35. So the answer here is actually 2013. Next question. What was the average height of the mango tree from 2012 to 2015, which is from here to here? So please do not add this into the calculation. So to find average height, we have to use 50 plus 70 plus 95 plus 130 plus 135, and we divide it by the number of years. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And the answer will be 86.25 meters. Let's recap what we have learned here. We learned about line graph and how to find the measurement of from 0 to the first marking by drawing a model here to understand the concept. We also learn about times as many because of this word twice, and finally we learn about average. Question 9. The table below shows the number of buns sold at a bakery last week. Day, number of buns. Monday to Friday, 2y per day. Saturday, y plus 50. Sunday, 3y minus 15. A. If y is equals to 28, what was the total number of buns sold last week? B. The buns were usually sold for $1.50 each. However, there was a 40% discount on all the buns sold last week. How much did the bakery collect from the sales of all the buns last week? So to do A, we have to first find out what is the total number of buns sold here. So we will do 2y, because it's Monday to Friday, so it is actually 5 days, right? So 5 times 2y plus Saturday will be y plus 50, and Sunday will be 3y minus 15. So this will become 10y plus y plus 50 plus 3y minus 15. So we shall now highlight all the y, or some teacher call it boxing. You box it up so that you can actually see them clearly. So this will be equal to 10y plus 3y is actually 14y, and plus 50 minus 15 is actually 35. Then the next thing you can do will be substituting y equals to 28 into the equation here. So 14, y means 14 multiplied by 28 plus 35. And the answer will be 437 buns. So this bakery shop is going to have a 40% promotion. In order to have a 40% promotion, so we have to find the new selling price of the buns. So 100% is the original selling price. If we minus the discount of 40%, it would be equal to 60%. So if 100% is equivalent to $1.50, then 1% will be equivalent to 1.5 divided by 100, and therefore 60%, which is the new selling price, will be 1.5 divided by 100 times 60. Notice that there are 2 zeros here, so actually the decimal point moved to the left by 2 times. So it's equal to actually 0.015 multiplied by 60, and this is actually 90 cents. So if the bakery sold all the buns, they would have sold 437 buns. So the total collected will be 437 buns multiplied by 90 cents, and the total sales collected will be equal to $384.30. Let's recap what we have learned here. We learned about algebra in one variable. We learned algebra substitution. We also learned about how to handle discount when we deal with percentage. Question 10. X and Y are two rectangular containers. The base area of X is 90 cm square, while that of Y is 60 cm square. At first, X contained water to a height of 35 cm and Y was empty, as shown below. Richard then poured some water from X to Y. After that, the height of the water in X was 4 times that in Y. What was the new height of the water level in X? So let's transfer some of the information onto the image so that we can see clearly. So here, 90 cm square is actually at here. And 60 cm square is at here. Let's review the formula for volume. Volume of cuboid is actually length times breadth times height. And we can also see it as, since length times breadth is area, we can see it as area times height. So, in order to find out the water transfer later, we first need to find out the volume of water here. So, volume of water is actually equal to 90 times 35, which is equal to 3,150 cm cubed. So right now, what the question wants us to do is actually transfer water so that whatever height that is here, let's say the height here is this level. For X, the height must be 4 times of it. So, how can we actually do that? We must first remember that the volume of water did not change. So, in order to find the volume of water here, okay, we can call this 1U. And we can call this 1U, 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 and 1U. So therefore the total will be 4U, right? So what is the volume of water based on 1U of height? So it will be 90, which is the base area, multiplied by 1U. And since it is 4U, we can change it to 4U plus the volume of water here, which is 60 multiplied by the height, which is 1U. So when we add this with this, it is actually equivalent to 3150. So here, 360U plus 60U is actually equals to 3150 again. So 420U is equals to 3150, and 1U is actually 3150 divided by 420, and it will be 7.5. Since 1U is 7.5 cm, we can now see that the new height of the water in X will be 7.5 multiplied by 4. and our answer will be 30 cm. If the question asks us what is the height of the water in Y, it will be 1U, which is 7.5 cm. Let's review what we have learned for this question. First, we learned about volume transfer from one tank to the other. Next, we also learned about volume with common area, where what happens is you just imagine that I use a saw and cut this up, and it will be actually here, and I do it 4 times. 1, 2, 3, 4. So now the area has increased, but the height has not increased, and this area here is actually 90 cm square, 90 cm square, 90 cm square, 90 cm square, and it is joined to this actually 60 cm square, and the height is actually 1 unit. So imagine a much shorter cubeboard that is like a swimming pool, and because we have actually shifted from here to here, here to here, here to here, and finally from here to here. Question 11. Roy had to paint a piece of paper. He painted 1/5 of the paper yellow and 85 cm square of the paper red. He then painted 1/3 of the remainder green and the rest blue. If the area of the blue region is 1/4 of the area of the whole piece of paper, find the area of the paper. To help you understand the question, I will roughly draw the model so that you can understand what is going on first. So assuming that this is the paper, 1/5 will be yellow. So let's cut this into 5. For children, if you do not know how to cut into 5, you just shift a little bit. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And 1/5 is actually yellow. Now there's an 85 cm square of paper red. We do not know how big is this 85 cm square, so we can only assume, and the trick is do not cut exactly at here because you're confusing your brain. So either you go a little bit less or a little bit more, and this will be red and 85 cm square. So the rest is actually the remainder. So we will have to cut from here to here and make it into 3 portions. 1, 2, 3. Okay, this is not well drawn because the circles are not equal size. So if you get easily confused, so I suggest that you redraw it. And let's cut it somewhere here. Okay, so here 1/3 is green, so I'm going to label this as green, and the rest are blue. So this will be my blue. And the interesting thing now is that the blue portion is actually 1/4 of the whole piece of paper. So what it means is this blue portion is actually 1/4, and the rest is actually 3/4, right? For this question, there is actually a hidden trick here, which is this 2/3 of the remainder is actually 1/4 of the total. So you can write it as 2/3 of the remainder is the same as 1/4 of the total. So this is a common numerator, so we make 2 and 1 the same by multiplying the numerator and the denominator by 2. So this will become 2/8 of the total. So now we can see that this is equivalent to 2 units, and therefore, since the total is 8 units, this must be 8 units minus 2 units, which is 6 units. So this one is a unit, and this is also a unit. But our question is, how about here? How are we going to find the unit represented here? One of the tricks you can do is to know that since this whole blue rectangle is 8 units, the shortcut will be to divide them by 5. So 8 units divided by 5 is actually equals to 1.6 units. So if this is 1.6 units, of course the rest will also be 1.6 units. I know that some of your school teacher didn't teach you this concept, but it's very useful if you understand it. So now that we know yellow is 1.6 units, so let's find out how many units is represented by 85 cm square. So if this is 8 units, if we minus the 3 units here and the 1.6 unit here, it will be the red portion here, which is equals to 85 cm square. So 3.4 unit is actually equals to 85 cm square. 1 unit is actually equals to 85 divided by 3.4, and the answer will be actually 25. This is a very important information, and because we have found our 1 unit, now we can solve the question, which is find the area of the paper. And since the paper is 8 units, we just have to use 8 units, which is equals to 8 multiplied by 25, and our answer will be 200 cm squared. Let's recap what we have learned. Here, we learned fraction of a whole, and the word remainder here tells us that it is using remainder concept. And for drawing model, for remainder concept, it is good to draw a different layer, a pull down model. We also learned about 1/4 here, and this 1/4 actually shared the same total as this number here. Finally, we learned to create unit equation so that we can find 1 unit, and we have learned the concept of using decimal unit so that we can do the question in a faster and more efficient way. Question 12. In the figure below, not drawn to scale, BDEG is a square and BCD is an isosceles triangle. ABC is a straight line. BF is parallel to CD. So BF is parallel to CD, and angle ABG is equals to 80 degrees. A. Find angle BDC. B. Find angle BFE. Let's start to do this question. So In order to find angle BDC, first establish the relationship here. The question says that BCD is actually equals to an isosceles triangle, so this and this is actually the same. So if we can find this angle here, which is CBD, we will be able to find this angle here. And we are going to use angle on a straight line to help us to solve the puzzle. This is actually 90 degree. So 180 degree minus 90 degree minus 80 degree is actually equals to the angle here, and it is actually 10 degree. So if this is 10 degree and the sum of triangle, angle sum of triangle is actually 180, now we can use 180 degree minus 10 degree and divided it by 2 because this is an isosceles triangle. So it will become 85 degree, and we have solved the answer for A. So let's look at B now. We are supposed to find angle BFE. So for angle BFE, this is the angle that we need to find. And how are we going to find this angle? Remember that there is a clue to the question, which is BF is parallel to CD. So let me just highlight for you. If you can see the parallel line, you would notice that we can form a letter Z here. And therefore, the angle here, which is 85 degree, is the same, which is also 85 degree. So in order to find this, we can see that BD is also parallel to FE. So these two angles form 180 degree because this is an interior angles. 180 degree minus 85 degree is equal to 95 degree. And we have found our answers for B. Let's recap what we have learned. We have learned the importance of isosceles triangle, where the base of the triangle has two equal angles. We also learned angle on a straight line. We also learned about alternate angles. Where we need a pair of parallel lines to form a letter Z. Finally, we learn about interior angle, where we use a pair of parallel lines to form the letter C, and this angle here and here is actually 180 degree. Whereas for alternate angle, this angle here and this angle here, which is actually at the corner, is actually the same. Question 13. The table below shows the charges of a taxi company. Flag down rate is $2.50. Every 200 meters up to 10, which is 10 kilometers, is actually 10 cents. Every 150 meters after 10 kilometers is 10 cents. Morning surcharge from 7 a.m. to 9:30 a.m. is $2. A. Rachel took a taxi to work at 11 a.m. and traveled a total distance of 16 kilometers. How much was her taxi fare? B. Ryan paid $18 for his taxi fare when he took a taxi at 8:30 a.m. What was the maximum distance he could have traveled? So let's try to understand A first. So for Rachel, if she takes a taxi at 11 a.m., there is no surcharge. So the amount that she paid must belong to this category instead. So for 16 km, when you bought the taxi, immediately the taxi company will charge you $250. And we have to now decide on how this 16 kilometer has to be distributed. So the clue here is up to 10 kilometer. So we have to divide this into 10. 16 minus 10 is actually 6. So notice that 10 km and the 6 km here is actually based on different rate. So for this first 10 km, okay, it will be based on 200 meter for 10 cent. And here, this will be 150 meters for 10 cent. So you can see that actually, once you exceed 10 kilometer, is actually cheaper. So our job now is to think about how do we divide this by this to find the number of set. 10 kilometer is actually equals to 10,000 meter. So to find the number of set here, we have to use 10,000 divided by 200, which is equals to 50 sets. So if there are 50 sets here, and every set you have to pay 10 cents, so the price here will be 50 multiplied by 0.1, and you pay $5 at here. So this is actually $5. So we have to do the same thing for 8 kilometer now. 6 kilometer is actually equals to 6,000 meter. So 6,000 divided by 150 here is equal to 40. So if we use 40 sets, multiply by the 10 cent here, which is actually 0.1, it will be $4 here for actually 40 sets. So how much did Rachel pay? Rachel has to pay the flag down rate of $250 and another $5 here and $4 here. So the total he has to pay will be $250 plus $5 plus $4, which is equal to $11.50, and that is the answer for A. So now we have to do B. Ryan paid $18 for his taxi fare when he took a taxi at 8:30. What was the maximum distance he could have traveled? So, since he took the taxi at 8:30, he has to pay the flag down rate and also the surcharge. And of course the distance traveled. So for $18, let's distribute for the different component. Flag down rate is $250. Surcharge is $2. And the remaining money will be used to travel as far as he can. So if we use 18 minus 2 minus 250, it will be equal to 1350. So 1350 is used to pay for the distance traveled by the taxi driver. So if you remember, just now we realized that this one here is a maximum of $5. So we know that for $5, Ryan can travel up to 10 kilometers, which means that the rest of the money can be used to travel for the remaining distance. So 1350 minus $5 is actually equal to $8.50. So $8.50 will be here. Since it will be 10 cents for every 150 meters, I have to find out for $8.50 how many 10 cents are there. So $8.50 is actually equal, so $8.50 divided by 0.1 is actually 85. So that means here there can be 85 sets of 150 meters. So 150 multiplied by 85 will give us 12,750 meters. So the total maximum distance he can travel will be 10 kilometers, that is here, and 12.75 kilometers, which is here. So total is actually 10 plus 12.75, and it will be 22.75 km. So let's recap what is important here. We have to notice that at different distance, they charge a different price, and because of the word every, so the likelihood is that we can use the concept of set to solve this question. We also understand that because of the maximum distance, we are using the concept of minimum and maximum so that we can find the longest distance that Ryan can travel. Question 14. The figure shows two quadrants of circles centered at C and D respectively. Find the difference between the area of the two shaded regions. Take pi equals to 22 out of 7. So some students will find this question difficult because they have never learned how to find a weird shape like this. But not to panic. What we can actually do is to think about what are the regular shapes that we have learned. Notice that the concept here is on difference. So it basically means that they want you to find the difference between, let's call this A and B, where definitely you have to use B minus A since B is bigger than A. So our goal is to find B minus A. But how are we going to do that? Let's label other shapes here as well. So if this is A, why don't we call this C, and why don't we call this D? The first thing that we can try to find is the area of this quadrant. And you can see that the area of this quadrant consisted of letter B, C, and D. And we also can find the area of this rectangle here, which is actually A and C. Finally, we can probably use the area of this small quadrant here too, which is actually D. So the challenge now is how can we get B and A from this? So since we want B and A, and we wanted it to be a difference, so do you realize that if we use BCD minus AC, we would have gotten rid of C? And if we use BCD minus AC and also minus D, we would have gotten the D as well. So we got back what we wanted, which is B minus A. So let's try to find B. The area of a circle is actually pi r squared. So pi is 22/7. So here we must know the radius here, which is 14 plus 14, and it is actually 28. So 1/4 of 8 would mean that our formula has to be multiplied by 1/4 as well. So 1/4 multiplied by 28 multiplied by 28 multiplied by pi, right? Minus A and C is a rectangle, so it will be 28 multiplied by 14, and we have to minus this small quadrant here, which is 1/4 multiplied by 14 multiplied by 14 and multiplied by pi. The answer will become 616 minus 392 minus 154, and our answer will be 70 cm squared. Let's recap what we have learned here. We learned that it's okay to see weird shape here as long as we know the formula of all the basic shapes that we have learned. And since there are some overlapping area here, so the concept that we can learn here is overlapping area. And we also learned the importance of labeling with letters so that we can test out our assumptions to see whether the idea work or not. So of course, in this question, we have quadrant, or we call it quarter circle, and also rectangle. Question 15. Marcus wants to make 35 large identical stars and 20 small identical stars using wire. He has made 20 large stars and 14 small stars using 12.48 meters of wire. The length of wire he used for the 5 small stars is the same as that of 4 large stars. A. How many small stars can be made with the same length of wire used to make 20 large stars? B. What is the length of wire he needs to make the remaining stars? So, the challenge for this question is that they did not give us the dimension of the large stars and the small stars. But we can actually guess from this sentence here, which is 4 small is equivalent to 4 large. But the problem is this is S and this is L. So it's very hard to compare. One of the tricks you can do is find the LCM of 5 and 4, which is equals to 20. So what it means is we can convert this to 20 units, and this is also 20 units. So if 5 stars is equivalent to 20 units, so 1 star is equals to 20 divided by 5, which is equals to 4 units. If 4L is equivalent to 20 units, then 1L is equals to 20 units divided by 4, which is equals to 5 units. So we can see now, to make a small star, we need the wire that is equivalent to 4 units. And to make a large star, we need the wire that is equivalent to 5 units. So the question asks, how many small star can be made with the same length used for 20 stars. 20 large star will be equivalent to 20 multiplied by 5u, which is equals to 100u. So, to make the small star, it will be 100u divided by 4u for each small star, and the answer will be 25 small star. And that is the answer for A. Now we have to find out the length of wire used to make the remaining stars. Since Marcus wants to make 35 large stars and he has already made 20 large stars, so 35 large stars minus 20 large stars, it will be 15 large stars. If Marcus had already made 14 small stars and he wanted 20, so 20 small stars minus 14 small stars is actually equals to 6 small stars. So what is 15 large stars in terms of unit? It will be 15 multiplied by 5 unit, and this is actually 75 unit for the large stars, and 6 multiplied by 4 unit, which is equals to 24 unit, which is for the small star. So the total unit of wire needed will be 75 unit plus 24 unit, which is equals to 99 unit. But we have a small problem now. What is 1 unit? The trick is try to find a number that represents quantity. So we know that this is 12.48 and it's equivalent to 20 large stars and 14 small stars. So 20 large stars will be actually 20 multiplied by 5 unit plus 14 small star will be 14 multiplied by 4 unit, which is equals to 100 unit plus 56 unit, and it will be 156 unit. So 156 unit is exactly the length of 12.48. So 156 unit is actually equals to 12.48 meters, which is also equals to 12,480 cm. So 1 unit will become 12,480 divided by 156, which is equal to 8. So if 1 unit is 8, we want to make 15 large stars and 6 small stars, which is actually 99 unit. So 99 unit is equal to 99 times 8. And the answer will be 792. Let's recap. So here we have small stars and large stars, and therefore we have 2 different types of items and we do not know their length. So some of you may want to use unit and part to solve the questions, but for me, I do not prefer unit and parts. I like to do parts because it's easier to manage. My math teacher used to tell me that if you have 2 letters, it's pretty easy to solve, which is unit and part, but if you have 1 letter, it's far more easy. It's far easier. So here we use LCM, and So we use LCM to create units for the length of the small star and the large stars so that we can create equations here to find out what is the equivalent unit. And because we are given a number here, we can find one unit and solve whatever questions that the question throw at us. So units is very important here. Question 16. There are a total of 300 people at a party. The ratio of the number of men to the number of adults is 3:5. The ratio of the number of boys to the number of children is 1:2. The total number of male is 166. A. How many adults are there at the party? B. How many girls are there at the party? So whenever I see questions that has ratio and there is this interesting number here and here, I like to try to do the question not with a model but with a table, and I call it the unit table. So the first thing we need to do is we need to think about the adults and the children. So for adult, 3 is referring to the men. So we have men and women. Man is 3, adult is 5. So 5 minus 3 is actually 2. So let's look at the children now. So boys to children. So this must be children and this must be boys. So we have boys, which is 1. Children is actually 2. So 2 minus 1 for the girl, it would be 1. Notice that I use a different pen color for a different ratio set because they do not represent the same quantity. So you can see that they did not give us any more clues as to how these pink numbers and these blue numbers are related. So the likely possible thing they want us to do would be to create unit and part. So if there's a total of 300 people, we can see that 5 unit plus 2 part is equal to a total of 300. And since the total number of male is actually 166, so let's find the male, which is at here and here. So we can see that 3u plus 1 part is equal to 166. Since the question asks us to find the number of adults, which is 5u, so our job is to get rid of the part. So if this is equation 1 and this is equation 2, equation 3 will be actually equals to equation 2 multiply by 2, because if we use 1 part multiply by 2, it will be 2 part, and definitely this 2 part can minus each other. So this will be 6 unit plus 2 part, which is equals to 166 times 2, and this is actually 332. To help you understand the concept clearly, let me just draw some model here for you. So here we have 2 parts. So 1, 2. Here we also have 2 parts, and this will be 1, 2. And here we have 5 unit. So 5 unit will be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And here we have 6 unit, which is actually 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, which is actually 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 units. So you can tell that if equation 1 is 300, from here to here, this is 300. And equation 3 is actually 332. We can tell that the extra is because of this extra unit here, which will become 332 minus 300, which is 32. So that is why we always try to make one of the letters the same so that it can minus off each other, and we compare the units at the other side. So if we use equation 3 minus equation 1, 6 unit minus 5 unit is actually 1 unit, and 332 minus 300 is actually 32. So 1 unit is actually 32. So the number of adults is actually 5 unit. So 5 unit is equals to 5 times 32, which is equal to 160 adults. Now let's try to find the number of girls. To find the number of girls, it is actually one part. So we have to look at equation 1, 2, and 3 to see which one is the easiest to do. We would not want to use this equation 1 or 3 because they are two parts. We have to divide by 2 later to find one part. So the best is from equation 2. So from equation 2, 3 unit plus 1 part is equals to 166. So 1 part is equals to 166 minus 3 unit, which is equals to 166 minus 3 multiplied by 1 unit, and our 1 unit is at here, which is equal to 166 minus 96, and our answer is actually 70. So there are 70 girls at the party. Let's recap what we have learned. We learned that here there is actually a branching that has taken place. We also learned that there is no more clue so that we can connect the relationship between here and here. So we have to use unit and parts. And to do unit and part, we always want to find out what we want, and then we remove the other letters by using elimination. And finally, we found out that 3 unit is actually 3 times 32, so that we substitute it here so that we can find what is one part. So we also use the concept of substitution. Question 17. There were 27 pieces of $5 notes and $10 notes all together in a piggy bank. Lucas used 75% of the $5 notes and put in 12 more pieces of $10 notes. As a result, the number of $5 notes was 40% the number of $10 notes. A. What was the total value of $5 notes at first? B. What was the total amount of money Lucas had in a piggy bank in the end? So to do this question, we must be able to change the percentage here 2 units. So this is actually 75 over 100, which is actually 3/4. This is actually 40 over 100. When we reduce and divide it by 20 on both the denominator and the numerator, it will be 2/5. Once we have done that, it will be a lot easier to come up with a table so that we can understand the relationship that happened in the story, and we can focus on the table without looking at the questions anymore. So we have $5 here and $10 here. So the total, so why don't I put a total here, and it is 27. Lucas used 75% of the $5 note. That means his money based on the $5 note was put into 4 portions, and he used 3 portions and he's left with 1 portion. For the $10 note, he actually added an additional 12. Notice that this refers to the numbers of notes, and this also refers to the number of notes. So in the end, the number of $5 note was 2/5 the number of $10 notes. So this will be 2 and this will be 5. So this is the most important information in our question because they refers to both the $5 in the end when you compare the change in the $5 by looking at the green number, and here it refers to the $5 in the end when compared to the number of $10 notes. So we can make them the same. The LCM of 1 and 2 is actually 2. So I'm going to multiply all this by 2. And definitely this one is actually multiplied by 1. So I'm going to now use a black pen so that you will not get confused. This is 8 unit minus 6 unit, which is equals to 2 unit. This is actually 5 unit. So to go backwards, this is actually 5 unit minus 12. So we can tell now that 27 is actually 8 unit plus 5 unit minus 12. So 8 unit plus 5 unit minus 12 is equals to 27. So 13 unit minus 12 is equals to 27. We want the unit to be on the left side, so we don't want this number here. And to get rid of this number, we just have to do the opposite, which is plus 12 on both sides. So it will become 13 unit is equals to 27 plus 12, and we will have 39, and therefore 1 unit is actually equals to 39 divided by 13, and the answer is actually 3. This is very important because it will help you to solve many questions. So the first question is, what is the total value of the $5 note at first? And we know that it's 8 units of notes. So the value of the $5 notes is actually equals to 8 multiplied by 1 unit, which is 3, multiplied by the $5, which is the value. 8 multiplied by 3 is actually counting the number of notes. And when you multiply by 5, we are asking for the value. So the value of the $5 notes at first is actually equals to 120. Now let's look at part B. What was the total amount of money Lucas had in the piggy bank in the end? So it will be 2 units of $5 note and 5 units of $10 note. So 2 units of $5 notes is actually equals to 2 multiplied by 1 unit. I advise you to highlight your 1 unit so it's easier for you. So 2 times 3 multiplied by 5, which is actually equals to $30. So now we are at here. 5 unit of $10 notes is actually equals to 5 multiplied by 3, which is actually 15, multiplied by 10 is actually 150. So the total amount of money that Lucas had in the end is actually equals to 30 plus 150, and we will get $180. Let's recap what we have learned. We learned that there are 2 variable $5 note and $10 notes, and we can see that there are changes that has happened to each of them. So the concept here is an or change. We also can see that there is a repeat in the information here, and therefore we can use the idea of units manipulation so that we can make them the same by using LCM, so that we can compare them by changing them all into units. We can see that by coming up with a units table, it is far easier to compare the information, and definitely since this is the number of notes and we are supposed to find value, we must be able to understand the concept of numbers times value. Finally, we also learn about percent to units, where we have to be able to change this into fraction and its equivalent unit. Notice that this is fraction of a set where 3 is the used and 4 is the total, whereas for here, this 40%, when we reduce 2 refers to the item in front, while 5 refers to the item behind. Now let me show you the features that you can use on iSchool.sg to help you accelerate your progress, and today we focus on reports. First, click on Reports. There are 6 reports that you can look at. The first one is your question type by day, by topic, question by day, by topic, by week, and by month. So if you click on question type by day, you can see the number of question type that you have attempted for that day, and if you want to go back and practice questions that were done wrongly or with a poor timing, you can just click on that number and it will bring you back to the questions that you were practicing. The grey number just shows the remaining number of incorrect question type. At first there were 2, and now there's 1 more question type left for you to practice. So, to close, just click on the tab again. This is your question type by topic, so you can see which topic are you strong or weak at. The longer the red bar, the weaker your understanding of the topic. Likewise, you can also click on any of the numbers here to go back to that question. And you can just practice those that you got the question wrongly, or questions with pink background means that the question has never been attempted correctly before. And now you have the question by day, topic, week, and month. The difference is that question type are those master questions that you click the button attempt, whereas this count the total number of questions you have attempted. We have come to the end of the paper. I hope that you have gained some knowledge in learning how to solve all these exam questions. I want to thank you for your patience with me, and I want you to know that you are born with a destiny, and I want you to run after your destiny and fulfill your dreams that you have. Work hard in your math paper so that you can get a better exam score for yourself. I love you. See you again.